The Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Bayer Crop Science and C&M Seeds.
I'm Amber Bell, and this is Real Agriculture. I'm here today for the episode of Wheat School we're going to be doing with Laird Lampertz of Pitura Seeds. We're going to be talking about variable rate seeding. So welcome, Laird. It's great to see you.
Well, thanks for coming out to this beautiful windy day in southern Red River, Manitoba.
It is windy, but it's nice, and there's wheat growing. This is fantastic.
That's right. This field is off to the races.
It is. Okay, so variable rate seeding. Talk to me a little bit about this. So you guys started this up fairly recently, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Here at Pitura Seeds, we're a family farm here in Domain, Manitoba, and we've cut our teeth in growing cereals and selling cereals over the last 75 years, and we're always looking how to get that seed off to a better start, and variable rate seeding seemed to be a discussion that was coming up more and more.
So what was your decision-making process on deciding to try it out a little bit?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, all decisions, for our farm, for our customers, it's always based on profitability per acre. Mm-hmm. And so, keeping that in the lens of, what we're trying to solve, that's where variable rate seeding came to be, is how do we lower our risks, increase our yields, maximize our yield, and produce more sustainable yield. And so the more and more conversations we had about it, the more and more we tried to understand the genetic backgrounds of the seed we were growing, the more we realized that we're seeing these varieties have big yield potential, which is creating new problems, but it's also creating problems in terms of understanding what that ideal plant stand is. And so we really tried to say, okay, how can we get the most out of the seed?
Right, and with Pitura Seeds, you guys kind of have a unique ability to try new things on a large scale. So what has that looked like in bringing variable rate seeding in? Where did you guys start off? What are you doing this year?
Yeah, and what's unique is over the years, as we take breeder seed and try to multiply it up and blow it up, we've experimented with light seeding rates. And so we're able to do that on a field scale basis, a large farm scale with field scale equipment. And what we noticed and we learned is we weren't seeing as much of a yield drag as we thought with lighter seeding rates. And so because of that, we are also looking to try to maximize our areas of our zones, our productivity areas of our zones. And so because of that, we realized, hey, why don't we take our most productive areas, decrease the seeding rate on that, increase the tillering, decrease our cost, and in the low areas, let's increase our seeding rate and try to push maturity and speed it up a little bit, ultimately trying to be more profitable. So that's kind of where we started. Last year was our first year of implementing it. We took lots of fields. We used 15 years of yield data. We used topography, we used elevation, we used EC maps, and we tried to form productivity zones in the Red River Valley. And as we formed those zones, we realized, there is a difference showing up. Mm-hmm. And so then how do we treat our seeding rates different within those zones?
What have been some of the surprises that you've experienced while going through this process?
Yeah, the biggest surprise, I would say, is, we always look at what's happening above ground, but by using some piece of equipment like the soil moisture probe behind us from Crop Intelligence, we were able to get a sense of what was going on below ground in our different zones. And we saw some really unique things like in our zone 1, our most profitable zones, last year when we entered a dry spell in the summer, in those areas that are most profitable or most productive, our roots were pulling moisture from 50 centimeters down by July 10th. Meanwhile, in zones 2, we didn't start pulling moisture from 50 centimeters deep until August, so almost 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. And then in zone 3, our lower areas that aren't as productive, more poorly drained, we were never pulling water from 50 centimeters deep. So we started seeing what was happening below ground, telling the story of what was happening above ground, which was higher yields with lighter seeding rates.
Right.
So that was surprising.
That would be really surprising. And has there been any lessons that you've kind of been like, yeah, maybe we should do a little bit less of this or that because of the variable rate seeding and the testing you're doing?
Yeah. Short answer is yes. Last year when we did our variable rate zones, we were targeting 24 plants a square foot all the way up to 36 plants a square foot. And we assumed 10% seed mortality. We got 10% seed mortality. This year we seeded this field here behind us on May 1st. We didn't get a rain till May 19th. And so our mortality rates are higher than last year. And so we'll wait and see what our final plant stand is and how many heads per square foot we get and how the wheat adapts. But we're going to be dealing with a lighter plant stand than we anticipated in our light seeding rate. And so we'll see how that plant stand accommodates and flexes to see if it'll still produce 3 to 4 million heads per square acre, which we feel is where we need to be to maximize our yield potential in each zone. So there might be some really big lessons coming based on higher mortality rates out of this year.
We were talking earlier about the difference between necessarily a plant stand count and what you're actually going to get in yield or TKW. Mm-hmm. Now, how would that impact any decisions to do, variable rate seeding?
Well, huge, and actually, you're jumping back to the basics at a 100-foot view, and I love it because as seed growers who see lots of different lots over lots of different years, you have very different weights or TKWs within your wheat lots. And a good example is this year, we have one variety, SY Manus, that's distributed by FP Genetics. It had a TKW of around 32 to 34 grams. That's a Syngenta bred wheat variety, CPS characteristics. We've got some wheats that are bred by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, hard red springs that are coming in at 40, 41 grams per 1,000 kernels. And so the same seeding rate at 120 pounds is going to get you a difference of 40% in plants per square foot, which is really all we're doing within this variable rate range. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to know that TKW to start with, to know what your end result is going to be. And in this case, we're in a field of Hockley wheat. These seeding rates range from 85 up to 130 in this field, ranging to get a plant stand of 22 plants a square foot up to 36 plants a square foot. So very important to know that to start, so that what you're getting in the field is what you're trying to accomplish.
Right. And any words of encouragement or recommendations to growers that are looking at trying out variable rate seeding?
Yeah, I have lots of words of encouragement, whether or not they're relative to everyone. But, last year we dangled our toe in the water with doing one field. This year our ankle is in the water while we're doing 3 fields of variable rate seeding. You got to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. I know everyone out there has, equipment and seeders that lots of them have the capacity to do variable rate. Almost everyone has, combine monitors analyzing yield, geo-referenced in the field. And so we have the technology, we have the data. One of the biggest challenges is putting that data to use. And you got to start somewhere. And so I really encourage anyone, jump in, put that toe in the water, try it yourself. Reach out to the industry experts in the area. In our case, we're working very closely with Enns Brothers on the equipment side, on the prescription side, on the mapping side, to help us develop zones. They've got a network of growers. They're learning from their growers. They're bringing that to us. Those kind of things are so important. And so, how do we use the data? Just start using it. Start trying to make decisions on it. These soil probes, for example, they're telling us a story that's happening below the ground that we didn't know was happening. To take it one step further, we've got protein analyzers on our combines giving us a reading of protein by each zone, by each acre.
Oh, neat.
And so the information's there. It's just how do you capture it? How do you use it? Who do you work together to tell that story of what's happening in your field?
Right, and so really that collaboration piece is a big
huge
thing. We're not in it alone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all in it together. We're all trying to do better. We're all trying to be more competitive in a global market. So let's work together.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
That was Laird Lampertz on Real Agriculture.